This is still very far out. We're talking a week out, and so a lot can change and a lot will change on this. But if we compare our previous runs from the GFS here, the GFS has been very consistent with showing this system here. I do think this will be something we'll have to watch as we get into next week, and I do think the National Hurricane Center will add some area into here that could hint at that potential for any development of a system. This would possibly affect maybe the Greater Antilles, possibly late next week into next weekend. But again, it's very far out, and we just got to really take everything just with a grain of salt and just really compare our models until we get to that point. So now we'll look at the European model. I'm gonna go to the 12Z. The European, not as certain that a system will form even the middle of next week, and you still have plenty of moisture down here into the Caribbean as well. And then you might get an area maybe forming. It does have a low pressure that does develop there, but it kind of just moves to the south, and then by that time, well out into the run, it's just not really that reliable at that point. But both models do show moisture here, so we'll just have to continue to watch this and see how this moisture is able to form into a system to develop. And then we'll look at the ensemble members. And so I think I've explained this before in some of my other videos, but again, this is just the ensembles are basically an average of different member models of of the European. And what it does is just it takes all these individual members and shows us kind of an average area when they put it together, so if that makes sense. But again, looking at the EPS ensemble here, and really as we go kind of into late next week, you have a little bit of a signal here into the Greater and Lesser Antilles here. There's just a slight signal here, nothing crazy, it's time. And then even as we get into next weekend, a little bit of a stronger signal comes up here, but again, it's just still too far out to pinpoint any specific details. But by next weekend, we still do have a signal here into the Caribbean, and then kind of north of that as well, 2 areas of signals here with kind of some potential systems. So that is just something to kind of look at. And then lastly, looking at the GEFS ensemble, as we get into late next week, it shows a signal here, a very strong signal into the Caribbean, as well as some other ones out here like the EPS ensemble was showing. Then not this weekend, but next weekend, you have a very, very strong signal here into the Caribbean, and that kind of plays along with the global GFS model as well.